these LEAP missions as well in the next coming years. Now, what do
Mark,
we have here?
we can't give you the points for the meaning of life, but we can give you the points for the robo-buffs.
Okay.
So
Now,
there we go.
I noticed that it seems like a pretty extreme spread there. The typewriter repairmen, as I mentioned earlier, are not human. We believe that they've come from another planet, and due to their high IQs and intelligence, they came and dominated the experience. But we wanted to show you that first because, you know, this is what it's like to be an alien. If you were human, your score would be closer to 15 points, as with the robo-buffs. And we're hoping that the aliens will indeed stay on this planet because we need their intelligence here as well.
You know, this is Arizona, and you're getting kind of on a touchy subject.
Look, Area 51 does not exist, all right? I've been there. It does. I'm not. Never mind.
Okie dokie. Also notice that there are two different categories. The robo-buffs are in the high school category, and the typewriter repairmen, as Mark says, they're in a league of their own, although they do have competition in their league.
I want to clarify something for NASA. Okay, first of all, it was Area 39. It was never Area 51. And that, wait a minute. But none of those things ever happened, but it was not 51. It was 39. Wait, there's a team 39 here, too. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that hexadecimal?
You know what, I need some sleep. I've just been up too long. I'm sorry. I'm not making sense anymore.
You know, a man with blue hair shouldn't be talking about people from other...
That's why NASA's going to disavow anything that I've said here tonight. It said the man he was poisoned by radiation sickness, you know, fell out of helicopters on his head. He's great with the kids, but just ignore anything he says, you know, dealing with aliens and life forms from other worlds.
How does the blue hair begin? Because that's like your trademark. Every time we see you at a...
It's actually the natural color of my hair. I usually dye my hair brown to hide the blue. I actually am from another planet, and this is the only proof you have. But normally when I go to work, people don't like blue hair, so I dye it kind of dark brown, so it looks like my normal human, you know, appearance. And if you pull off my skin, there's scales, but don't do that. It's kind of embarrassing. It's, you know, seriously. 11 years ago, I was mentoring a team. They were the Cheesy Poofs, Team 254 in the Bay Area, and they basically. These were a gang team before they became part of a preparatory school. So they were like a bunch of like hoods, you know, you know, out of prison, teen moms, you know, really tough group. And what they did was, it was during Braveheart, and they painted their faces blue. And they said, "If we win, will you paint your face blue?" I'm like, you know, I have a NASA suit on. I'm like a little bit uptight, you know. I said, I mean, I'm not going to discourage them from winning. Well, so of course I'll paint my face blue. So they won. The following year, they said, "If we win, will you dye your hair blue?" And naturally I thought, what are the odds that they could win 2 years in a row? They did, and so my hair turned blue. The other thing was Team 192 Gun Robotics had their hair dyed red and in pretty brilliant colors, and I was always impressed with that. That was extreme. An engineer from Gun who used to put a mohawk, a red mohawk. I thought, man, this guy goes to work like this. I mean, God, he's my age. I mean, he's not scared. He's not afraid of looking funny. And so that's the reason for this. Is although I get a lot of weird looks in the airport, I'm not worried about what people think about me because, you know, either they're going to love me or they're going to hate me, and, you know, the rest is up to them.
Well, that's cool. So that's your trademark.
I guess it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's good.
Team
For your brand or whatever you call it.
10 out of 11 years, and that's...
You don't wear it to work, though, do you?
Unfortunately, one time the kids dyed my hair blue. It was permanent hair, and it was kind of embarrassing. I did go to work with it, but I would hide it back brown again. It didn't look very good.
Vanity.
The moral story is, don't let the students dye your hair under any circumstances. You do it yourself, and you're with your wife or your spouse in your own. You know, make sure you know what you're doing because they thought it was funny. And yeah, right, okay.
Well, that's what you get for hanging around winning teams.
It's what you get around hanging around these young people. The thing about it is they are so excited, and they're actually excited about doing the math, and they like what they do, and they like helping other people, and they're good humans. And I can think of no better way to spend my time. And every time I come away exhausted, but I'm excited, enthusiasm. Their excitement, and enthusiasm, and actually it makes me feel younger again. I feel like there's hope in the world, and like I can still do the math.
By the way, something we didn't point out, I think Maria pointed out, there's two ROVs in the water. They have one that's on the surface and then one that's going down. And the surface one is sort of like the observer. Think of like helicopter for ground, for terrestrial stuff. You can do that. Part of the rules are you're allowed, and I'm not going to remember the right number, I think 1.3 kilowatts of power. So if you want to do 48 volts at whatever amps on one ROV, or you want to do 12 amps or 12 volts and 10 amps, however you want to divide your power up is up to you. So you can have multiple sea crafts, water crafts.
That's cool.
And
again, this is a simple addition, but it's all about the math. You must add up your power before you go in because you only have so much power. And it's kind of like the universe, you know. masters of the universe, will do a good job of dividing their power. I want to say there was one guy who was working on a robot. I'll call him he's a real rocket scientist and worked on stuff going to like the Huygens craft. And he was actually here competing today. And his robot has the capability of outputting something in the order of like 10 kilowatts.
Cool. There we are now.
10 kilowatts.
One ROV looking down at the other one.
Looking down. That's not a bad thing, though. That's a good thing.
Nah.
I mean, when you say looking down, it's really like with respect, gazing downward. Anyway, the rocket scientist, I don't think his was able to pass the submersible test, but I mean, his robot's like a small spaceship, and it's got a lot of power. Like in that movie, it was the one with the guys that are on TV, like about more power.
That was the Scottish guy, huh?
No. What's it called? Tool Time.
Oh.
Anyway,
Tim the Tool Man.
Yeah, these guys had like 10 kilowatts of power.
Boy, this is a great shot. We should ask them to keep their ROV in the water, their floater. Now we're looking down on top of the nest, going through the kelp, which, by the way, could foul up your propellers.
That is beautiful. I mean,
this is
what they're doing here, they've
video.
really illuminated it. We can see what they're doing.
Yes.
We should get extra points for audience approval and audience
We
experience.
should. This is great visual stuff.
It reminds me when they work on do the space station walks underwater at Johnson.
Yeah.
Do you think these robots ever feel lonely when they're down in that cold water? Well, think about their CPUs. I mean, they're really not that smart. I mean, they have the capability of what? They're mostly microprocessors in them. I don't think any of them have ever achieved self-awareness. Maybe the typewriter repairman could tell us more if they're. Have your robot there achieved self-awareness? Not yet. Okay.
That's just a programming problem. We get the chips to do. I mean, we have the computer power to do it. It's just.
They've developed computer chips now which actually can go as fast as the human brain. The big problem is that we have 1 million inputs per second, coming into our brain, and it's being able to do that kind of parallel processing. We're within about 10 years of being able to have the technology to mimic the behavior of the brain's circuitry, not necessarily its processing capability, but its circuitry.
In a related thing, we were talking about the Carl Haig kids. They won the national underwater stuff. They've won the chairman's award at first. They won a space type competition. Mm-hmm. So the next one they're getting their eyes on is primarily for colleges, although high schools can't get it. It's an autonomous underwater robot, and it's sponsored by the Navy. Gee, I wonder why. And they'll have a number of tasks, like you have to go through a gate, pick something up, find something else.
Blow something up.
Yeah, well, they don't allow you to blow stuff up, but
Oh, come on, the Navy
they're
always
interested.
lets you do that.
But basically what it is you put your ROV in the water, turn the switch on, and that's it. There's no tether, no driving. It just has to do it all itself. And once again, at that competition, half of the ROVs take on water and sink, or short out stuff. And the Carl Hayden kids figure, well, that we can do. The real and the sensors that we've talked about it, what kind of feedback do you need? And we can get the sensors, mechanically it can be done. It's just one programming problem. It's a good program. So
autonomous is a very big part of, like, for lunar micro rovers, for example. What we do is we design these robots so if they go down into a crater and they lose radio contact, because it is very much line of sight. And for our communications, if they fall down into a crater or if they go behind a large enough rock, they will lose RF communications. So the AI portion of this, it has an IMU in there. Basically it's an inertial motion unit, which it's logging its position as it goes along the way. And what happens is, as soon as it's also looking at the radio strength, when it sees radio strength go to 0, it stops the rover. And then it looks at its data point and it actually backs up the rover to